Welcome back! Yay! We're getting ready for TSM, not TSM, Team Liquid. It was on the tip of my tongue, you know. Yeah, team. But one is Solomon, one is Liquid. Short update, ladies and gentlemen. We have gotten official confirmation that due to the tiebreaker rules that are favoring Immortals, even if they were to go to 0-2 in this series, they still have the head-to-head record over TSM, and therefore TSM are going to Unified Grand Prix for the qualifier, and Immortals have qualified for the Academy playoffs. So congratulations to Immortals Academy, as Immortals Academy are definitely thanking Cloud9 for getting the 2-0 over their opponents, as that helped them secure. I imagine there should be the handshake gif between Immortals and Cloud9 social media managers. Make it happen, or the one where you do the
yeah.
You know that thing?
Here.
Yeah.
So let's do it right now for them.
Okay.
There we go.
Immortals and Cloud9 securing playoffs together. Well, yeah, it's getting hot. It's
Oh, really? It's getting hot where you are. Interesting. It's 82 degrees in my room, Rafa. I'm not complaining.
We're doing this for the content. Okay, you know what? I'm putting on the mitts. I'm putting the mitts back on. As we do have our series for Team Liquid Academy and Immortals Academy coming your way in just a few seconds here. For this, like we said before, the stakes are slightly lower now that Immortals Academy have guaranteed their spot into Academy playoffs. Team Liquid Academy are still more than likely going to be at 3rd seed as of this point. And the only tiebreakers that exist are for, according to our sources, between Golden Guardians and Dignitas, or Dignitas and CLG, and those are just for seeding into Unified Grand Prix. So for Team Liquid Academy and Immortals Academy, obviously they still want to try their best. Immortals Academy could potentially make a break for the 5th seed instead of the 6th seed, since Evil Geniuses did go 0-2 against FlyQuest today.
And Team Liquid can still make a break for the not first seed, the 2nd seed. They go 2-0 as well. So these wins do still matter quite a bit. Both of these teams are still wanting to find those last wins before they get into the playoffs, and they've already had 2-0 weeks on both fronts, as you can see on the left side of your screen over there. Jenkins and Armeo are playing. That's still consistent from yesterday. They do have their initial full roster of Academy players. We don't know what's happening with the LCS team quite yet, but for Academy, Jenkins and Armeo are here, and Armeo is going to be playing Diana.
Tried and true. We've seen the Diana first pick for many teams so far on the Academy channel today. Immortals are going to respond, though, with the Aurelia, and we know that this is a champion that Viper can pilot to success, but Pretty can also take it as well. We'll see who or which solo laner ends up getting it. The Leona pick right off the bat. You know, Thresh not being available does mean that the likes of Nautilus, Leona are kind of up on in favor in terms of support priorities, Max.
Yeah, this is very interesting. So Joey has been putting a lot of priority on Leona specifically, but the placement in the draft is rather curious because Immortals could have just locked in their jungler right here, but saving that one for later, knowing that Anda does have a very deep champion pool, I like that option as well. They can save it for a little bit later into the draft, see what Team Liquid is going to be rocking with. So far, it is Renekton for one of the solo lanes, backing up with the Diana. Very potent dives for Team Liquid.
It's also a decent matchup into the Aurelia, at least early on. You can threaten getting better push advantage thanks to the Call of the Meek. And Team Liquid, check this out. So with Diana being locked in, you would normally think that you want to go forward and make the powerful engages with the Moonfall, but Yan is already preemptively taking the Xayah, which means that Yan will have access to a little bit of self-peel and disengage options thanks to the Featherstorm, because I imagine the Team Liquid are suspecting the Immortals are about to put a lot of stock into dive options on the Yan. I mean, the Solar Flare already kind of signals that it's coming from Immortals Academy.
Leona is also just a very nice champion to play into Xayah Rakan, if that's something that Team Liquid are looking for. If they were, though, they aren't anymore, because Rakan just got banned away by Immortals. I imagine that they're going to be looking at banning away some of the other Leona, the other picks that make Leona a little bit sad, something like the Gragas that we saw just last game for Isles, or the Alistar as well. Both of them do give Leona a little bit of trouble for Joey, as we did see that he was more keen on roaming around the map rather than just sticking around in the lane, but for him, he does have a lot of opportunities to engage with the Irelia too, and instead, it is going to be the Gangplank banned away from Jenkins.
For Team Liquid Academy are, capitalizing on the fact that Joey wants to get out of lane, they eliminated one of the marksmen that does give him the freedom to get out of lane, which is Yezreal. Olaf is one of the junglers that Anda could have taken, or Anda could have taken into Armeo's Diana. As now Immortals Academy are looking for their bottom laner of choice, something that can either be self-sufficient in the lane while Joey is looking for roams. Okay, well, so this wasn't what I was expecting. Normally you expect you pair the Aphelios with something like a Thresh, but Aphelios Leona is... it means that Aphelios has to always be looking for the aggressive here, Smacks.
And for this lane, if you are playing with the Aphelios, it is a little bit tricky to do because he doesn't have any real means of going forward. Like I was talking about, you're really expecting the Leona to be roaming around, and now that this Rel locked in too, it's really hard to break this lane. But for this last pick for Team Liquid, I'm really feeling like this is going to be Kennen. Jenkins is a Kennen expert in that top lane, and all throughout the split, he has used that to great effect into the Gwen matchup specifically. So I feel like if Team Liquid are going for comfort, that is the option for them to go for. You still have this very potent and powerful Tom Kent's champion to pick. It's going to be Camille instead, though, so going a very different direction. Again, focusing very heavily on dive for Team Liquid, paired up with the Diana.
I think the other thing, too, is that by already having the Diana, you want to limit the amount of magic damage that's coming in your composition so that you don't make Immortals Academy as eager to stack magic resistance and basically mitigate all that damage. The other thing to consider, too, we don't know if this is going to be an Irelia in the top lane versus a Gwen in the top lane, because Pretty has played Gwen in the mid lane. But I do like this Sejuani lock-in for Anda, as... you have double solo laners, and you're able to pair them extremely well. So the Camille is Jenkins' pick into the Irelia. Renekton should be able to deal with the Gwen decently well, but... the Sejuani, as we've seen in past metas before, it wasn't as great success for when TSM tried to do it, but we know that the skirmishing potential when you have double solo mid laners, or melee mid laners, makes Sejuani's ability to gank more potent.
Melee mid laners, melee top laners, melee supports, melee junglers. It's really just the marksmen that are going to be playing at range in this game. It's going to be a big brawl all around the Rift, and a lot of that's going to happen up in the top side of the map. For Immortals, it definitely makes a lot of sense that they would be doing that. And for Team Liquid, too, you think about what their LCS team really likes to do. They really like to play around Alphari. So this organization has a lot of experience playing around that top side of the map, expecting something very similar, especially now that we can see that Jenkins is rocking with the Ignite over Flash. So I'm expecting a lot of kills on that side of the map and a lot of roams around from Ayla and Joey. Just a little bit of a bummer for Keith and Jan, who will probably just have to stay bot lane and not do a whole lot.
Immortals Academy taken to the Rift now alongside Team Liquid Academy. And Jenkins rocking the Teleport Ignite, which gives him slightly a little bit of kill pressure against Viper. But already, look at this level 1 from Immortals. I don't think Joey was spotted. He's roaming with Pretty and potentially looking for any aggressive picks or just a vision into this top jungle.
The goal here for Joey is to scout out where the lanes are going for Team Liquid, because if Jenkins and Harry do swap around, then the Renekton into the Irelia will occur, and that's definitely a matchup that favors the Renekton very heavily. You can stun her out of all of these dashes and then get your full combo off after that. And notably, the Gwen Renekton matchup, you'd feel like is pretty okay for Renekton, but I've actually experienced the Gwen side of this matchup myself. I've played quite a few games of Gwen, even though I'm a support player. I wanted to figure out how this champion works, and I cannot tell you how many times I've solo killed Renektons in lane as Gwen. This matchup is actually very nice for her. She deals so much damage. Although she has been nerfed, the E attack speed isn't as high, so maybe that swings it back in Renekton's favor. But from my experience, Gwen is very happy in this matchup.
Immortals are going to get Gwen into the Renekton, if that is what they truly want to go for. Full clears potentially coming out for Armeo and respectively, as already we're seeing aggressive trading in the mid lane for both Pretty and Harry. I want to see if Armeo is able to coordinate a slow push dive against Viper in the top side of the map, as that is where Armeo will be pathing towards. He'll be hitting level 4 by the time the Scuttle Crab comes in. Or if he wants to finish one of his camps earlier, you can make the dive happen even earlier.
Lots of dive potential for both teams, really, and it's really just going to be up to whichever jungler arrives. We saw this actually jungle matchup just last game, the Sejuani and the Diana, and just like that game, Sejuani does clear the single target camps a little bit faster, but will struggle a bit when it comes to the AoE ones, as Jenkins trying to scout this out, maybe in hookshot range to disrupt Anda. Only 2 though.
Well, Jenkins sees Anda, but his eyes are on to Pretty in the mid lane. The stun came through from Harry, the Ignite dubstep, walking away. Cool guys don't look at explosions, and it's first blood for Jenkins.
Excellent roam down from Jenkins. Very smart. I was certain that he was going to go for the play onto Anda, but nope. He knows that Pretty doesn't have flash. He knows that Pretty can't ghost out of that situation. The crowd control is there, and Jenkins helps out his fellow solo laner in a matchup that would otherwise be a little bit tricky.
Uh-oh. Hopefully that's not permanent. As Armeo and Jenkins are going for... yeah. Armeo and Jenkins going for the top crab. Anda wants to contest for it. Will not have the mid laner quite yet, as Harry will be able to fall in behind. Anda has a flash away from safety. Armeo still on the chase, but Pretty trying to help out, but is going to get shoved and screened by Harry. Going back into the mid lane, as Viper also coming down. But so far, the crab should go over to Armeo.
They're really struggling right now. Didn't even go for his Krug camp, which is good because it was on vision. Now denied the scuttle as well. Even Viper is having a tough time. Level up, but rough trade against Jenkins. He will have to recall Armeo in the wings, just making sure that Viper does get punished if he doesn't. Viper making the wise move. And for Immortals, this top side, which is very volatile, is so far just not going in their favor whatsoever.
IMT do have a little bit of a scaling factor on their side, thankfully, though. This Gwen on the 2-item spike will be a monster, as we've seen demonstrated even when Darshan was put behind from TSM's dies multiple times. Still was a menace. Pretty can also be a menace as well. As Jenkins, whoa! Long hook shot. Trying to stop Viper before getting out of tower range, and now he's put himself in kind of a bad spot. Jenkins doesn't have flash to get out of this one. Viper flashes the tactical sweep as well, denying as much HP regeneration as well.
It's up.
Hookshot comes in, but he comes in and interrupts it thanks to the blade sweep, and now Jenkins has nowhere else to run. Viper should be able to get it. One more flawless duet, misses it, but he should be able to eventually run him down, right? Blade Surge finally comes out, and it took a while, but Viper finally got there.
I truthfully have no idea what Jenkins was doing with that first hook shot under the turret. I don't know what that was. He was trying to hit the minions, I suppose, but Viper was there, just immediately takes a turret shot, has to run away. Very, very interesting as to what was actually going on there, but Jenkins does fall in the solo kill. It's going to work very well for Immortals, who, like I was just saying, were really struggling on this top side of the map previous to that solo kill.
I went back to watch the live feed just to see if there's a play that I was missing, and even my small play-by-play brain could not. I think that was just an unfortunate misclick from Jenkins, but
you gotta imagine that it's a misclick, because that was just wildly unreasonable.
Well, for Immortals, a kill doesn't change the entire landscape of the matchup, but it does give a nice bit of gold back into Viper's pocket. Gonna help him rush towards that first power spike, as now they're trying to continue punishing on this factor. Armeo's here for the counter gank, though, as Anda shows his face. Permafrost comes out, but Armeo's here. Doesn't have level 6 quite yet, as they want to go for the skirmish, but has to be respectful of the Permafrost encounter here, and I just don't think Team Liquid had the combat sets ready to be able to take on Viper and Anda. It's just the Permafrost ability being able to come out. Jenkins, though, might look for the re-engage, and he's going to be able to trade one back. Does he get another one on the Viper, though, as bot lane might be going for an engage as well. Ferromancy lands onto Joey. The stun for the repel is is able to... Oh, Jesus! There's a lot of damage there. Jan is now on the chase, though. Keith going to be able to answer one back, and Smacks, this is a hell of a game we got going on in this second series.
Oh boy, wait, Keith, there's a teleport coming. That's Jenkins. You gotta run.
Okay, well, it's red-white. I mean, do you really want to fight it back? And Jenkins might have just wasted a teleport, realizing now that the Aphelios is pretty scary, even in a 1v2 situation.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Ayla can't do anything. He's one auto attack away from death. And Keith, very thankful that did not go the other way, but Jenkins teleporting out. He already donated Viper a kill from earlier. Now he's donating him an entire wave's worth of experience and gold gap. Viper is all of a sudden very, very dangerous for Team Liquid to deal with.
Joey finds the Sun onto Harry, forcing him to pop the Dominus, but Armeo's there for the counter engage. Moonfall onto Joey's burning him down. So gonna make it out alive with 100 HP. You re-engage from Pretty, but it's not enough. He teleported in for that fight. But Ayla was here for the response, and now Viper's going to go down as well. Team Liquid, there's been a lot of really weird fights this game so far, Smacks. Team Liquid looks like they finally found one in their favor, as Anda is waiting. But I don't know if you actually... yeah, you don't want to fight that one.
We're having fun here on the Academy stream right now, as we have as many kills as there are minutes in the game. Rift Herald going to be spawning and taken by Team Liquid if they have their way about it. I don't even know what replay this is going to be. Honestly, there was so much
that happened.
Joey trying to find a play onto Harry, but Dominus health and sustain with the Q is very tricky to deal with, and then...
Oh!
Man.
Oh, Viper.
So close.
Oh,
the
Viper!
Yeah.
Oh no, Viper.
Lots of skill shots going a little bit wide.
Hey man, Immortals already made it to playoffs, okay? They still are trying to play for seeding, but, you know, it's... Both teams are really pulling out... I don't even know what you want to call it, Specs.
I don't really have a descriptor that is apt enough. I think for this experience... It's best viewed rather than listened to. I think you just have to see it with your own eyes.
We're having a good time, you know. Depending on what your meaning of a good time is. Honestly, for me, even if it's chaotic, if their skill shots are missing, you know what? Both teams are throwing themselves against each other, and that's where like the beautiful disasters happen, right? You know, the train wrecks where. It's like, oh my gosh, this is so terrible, but you have to watch because it is also just so entertaining. But Team Liquid and Immortals, we know that they are very strong teams in their own right, and despite a very chaotic and weird early game, still, either of these teams can start making their way towards powerful mid-game, as Mythics are not completed yet for either team, but Tier 2 boots upgrades have been made, and for... Team Liquid, you still have this powerful engage setup from the Hextech Ultimatum and the Moonfall that you have to be ready for.
Just chalk it up to controlled chaos as we move along in this one. Those team fighting tools are going to be really big when we do get to that phase of the game. Feels like we've been in the skirmish phase for a very long time. Some games never leave that phase, so we'll see if Armeo actually can make the big team fight plays happen. The Magnet Storm is very powerful for those, and Ayla, one of the strongest Rel players that we even have in all of North America, I would say. Over the course of this entire year, he's been making amazing plays with this champion. Excited to see him more, as he is one of the only members on the Rift that has not died so far.
It's keeping that perfect KDA so far.
Oh yeah. He
is the Croc. He doesn't want to get turned into leather boots and belt anytime soon.
Yeah, Harry's doing it too. The two members of Team Liquid, deathless. They've been a part of the fights, but keep themselves up. Jenkins does get stunned up.
He gets a nice stun on it's a big minion wave as well. It's a nice gank from Anda, as this is going to prevent Jenkins from being able to collect a bunch of CS as it crashes into the turret. Armeo and Harry, though, are looking for the re-engage potentially, but they're already out. Going to pick up the minion wave. Rift Herald was secured for Armeo, and I wonder if that mid lane turret will be the victim of the Rift Herald charge.
You could feel the consideration for Armeo wanting to avenge his fallen comrade, but thinking better of it. It's a moment in the bush, just, maybe not. Maybe let's not engage the Irelia and Sejuani as they are still at full HP. And Harry wasn't quite in position yet. I feel like I've gone both ways in this top lane, saying, oh, this is Viper, he's really doing very well. Oh, Jenkins is really winning the topside matchup. And at this point, I don't even know who's actually ahead.
I mean, the gold lead is technically 1,000 Team Liquid's favor, but you're right, Smacks. When it's at this point in the game, a 1,000 gold lead could easily swing over into Immortals' favor. So it's really just going to be about if they can make this Rift Herald to great use and unlock the map further in Team Liquid's favor. Because then you can get first punch to these objectives, and then that's where you have the advantage of being able to force fights on your own terms. A Moonfall into, or Magastorm, Moonfall, Hextech Ultimatum onto the backline of Immortals, aka Keith. You wipe him out, and then Jan only has to worry about using Featherstorm defensively rather than aggressively, just to dodge out on counter engages from the rest of the Immortal squad.
Speaking of the Featherstorm, that was one of the buffs that was pretty major on the patch, I would say, is the cooldown being lowered. As I've been trying to make Xayah work in my own games for a while now, and it really does feel like that cooldown on the ultimate is really gating her from being able to go for a lot of the same plays that a lot of the other marksmen are able to. For a champion like Kalista, you can go in just about at any time. You don't really have to worry about cooldowns, as cooldowns being used top lane.
Oh no. Viper's in a world of trouble. He's going to try to make the 1v1 happen. He does trade, but he will go down as a teleport was expended by Harry to make sure that Team Liquid could punish Viper and not allow Joey to make the dive. Even more catastrophic for Team Liquid. They're going to shove in this wave, get some extra turret plates before the timer runs out, but Anda is actually going to prevent that from happening.
And yet again, lots of plays happening in topside, and I still have no idea which top laner is winning. Because they're both going down. Viper may be up 20 CS, but Team Liquid as a whole are feeling pretty good. They've got a disadvantage that they're using in the bot side now that Joey's not there. Illa and Jan pushing this wave through. And they do still have that dragon that they're working. They are considering what's going to happen in the next minute and a half. They can lock in yet another one. We'll still have to find out, as Armeo does have his mythic completed. This is a different one that we've seen from other Diana players. It is the Riftmaker, trying to go for the sustained fights rather than the burst of the rocket.
You are fighting up against a Gwen and an Aurelia, so you can't just worry about the Aphelios, which, you know, completely makes sense from Team Liquid's side. If you're able to sustain yourself against these two melee bruisers, then you might be able. It might be the difference maker, as second Rift Herald will be secured for Team Liquid respectively. They already sent it into the mid lane last time. Should be able to have it unlocked again, and the dragon is coming up in about 50 seconds, so if they time this right, this should give them a free access pass to that objective.
Definitely should. We'll see where they want to use it. Again, this is the second Rift Herald, so it's not as impactful. It doesn't get you any turret platings, but as long as they do get a charge off in mid lane, that would be first turret, and it would just immediately fall. Have some pressure that they're applying there as Jan makes his way over to the mid lane. Some lane allocations are being slotted through. And Harry gets first dibs on bot lane, so that wave is going to be pushed in as the Drake spawns. That feels like it might just favor Team Liquid. That might be all they need to actually take the step.
Yeah, they committed 4 members from Immortals towards the top side of the map, trying to potentially catch out Jenkins, but he's Camille. So unless he's in range to get Glacial Prison from Sejuani, that is going to be just fine. So it makes Immortals a little bit late on the rotation back over to this bottom side of the map. This turret is actually going to get pushed in by the Rift Herald here. And it looks like Team Liquid are opting in for a dive rather than just turning onto the dragon, and now it's going to force the hands of Immortals to come out with this teleport. Viper arrives to the fight here, but Jenkins is already on to Pretty in the backline, diving in with the Hextech Ultimatum, takes him down. But Viper and the rest of Immortals are destroying the backline of Team Liquid. Jan has already fallen, but Ayla and Harry are able to re-engage, force Anda out of the fight with his flash, and Keith is left all by his lonesome. You can be powerful in Aphelios, but if you have to deal with 3 other divers, you have to flash out and heal away. And Immortals are going to have to secede control of the dragon.
Truly a miracle that Immortals were even able to find one kill there, as Yon did have access to both Flash and Featherstorm, but does still go down. Lots of crowd control layering from Immortals does land them that kill at least, but losing out on the fight overall, losing out on that Dragon does mean that Team Liquid still have their way on the Rift. You have that Herald charge in that bottom lane, still waiting on first turret, but Team Liquid holding on to their lead very, very steadily, and we're going to get to watch this one again. Joey kind of jumping the gun here, I would say, diving into a Zenith play before his team is in position at all. Let's watch Yon, though.
Because he had Flash and Featherstorm. It doesn't look like it was used in that fight at all.
He had Cleanse, too. I mean, well, he... a little bit late. Yeah, just not feeling that he was under pressure quite at the same time. Figures it out there, though.
Featherstorm immediately before the Solar Flare comes
through.
Well, to be fair, I think the CC layering from Viper and Anda was just beautiful timing. As Viper might be caught out, is about to be in a 1v3.
Dodge too.
Not going to even need Ayla, I think. Oh, but they got the repel and charge for the stun. So Jenkins and Armail clean up Viper slightly overextending. As Immortals and Team Liquid are, once again, just trading blow for blow, but the objective lead that Team Liquid have netted for themselves have put them slightly ahead.
Smart play from Team Liquid. Again, they're pushing Viper. This is his 4th death now, and this is just because all of these plays are happening up in this top side. Every single time a team fight breaks out or a skirmish breaks out, Team Liquid made it their biggest priority to target this Irelia, target Viper, target the biggest win condition for Immortals. And he is still the biggest win condition. I don't want to mince my words here. He is still a very strong Irelia, so they're going to need to do this throughout the rest of the game, especially considering that Pretty is very far behind too. But Viper still falling into these traps is very good for Team Liquid. They're halfway toward Drake Soul. They still have this gold lead. They're still making these plays work.
Yeah, why don't we actually look at the individual gold graphs, just so we get a better understanding of where everyone's is kind of at right now. Because Harry is about 2,000 gold above Pretty at the moment. But yeah, that's the biggest outlier. Harry is almost towards his, or is about to complete his second item. He's sitting on a Phage and a pickaxe, so making his way towards that Sterix gauge. But keep in mind, even though the Pretty is behind, if Immortals Academy are able to stall this game out for the next 10 minutes, the second item completion for Gwen is so huge, it's so powerful. Will also be around the level 16 mark at that time, so the needlework coming through gives you so much damage to be able to interact with. As Jenkins looking for a pick on the Keith, but Joey's waiting in the wings, but it just might not be enough. There's just so much damage coming out from Harry and Jenkins, but a nice exhaust is able to stop the aggression. But just as I say that, Ayla comes through. All 5 members from Team Liquid are here for the party and the dive on Letucan and Joey.
I was worried the Team Liquid Academy were going to run out of accessibility into that fight after the initial play. The teleport was a little bit late, or maybe Jenkins was a little bit early, but starting up the Baron afterward, they've only picked off the bot side of the map. Pretty, Viper, and Anda are still alive.
They want to force They want to force IMT's hand. They want to continue looking for kills, and they baited them right into the Ferromancy. There goes Anda. The jungler for Immortals can no longer compete for the Baron, but now all the Team Liquid members have to get over the wall. Viper looking to clean up Pretty as well, has an opportunity to be able to just be the janitor in this fight.
Triple!
Viper looking for the triple, looking for the quadra. Armail gets out alive, flashing over the wall. Viper cannot get in range. Armail and Ayla will be able to make it out alive, but Viper comes up huge.
Hero play from the top laner of Immortals Academy. The defending Proving Grounds champion comes in clutch when they need him most. Triple kill on Irelia. I told you guys he's still threatening. I told you guys he's still the win condition. That ultimate into the huge grouped up team of Team Liquid was massive. As we get to watch the initial play again. This is what I was talking about, where Jenkins does hop in very early on, but all of the crowd control layering from Team Liquid is still gigantic. Ayla, so skilled at this rel, finds another great engage. And from here on out, I want us to watch what Viper actually does. So he goes into mid lane, he collects this wave, knowing that the damage is not quite so high for Team Liquid. They can't fully burst this through. They don't have any Blade of the Ring Kings or anything. gets to come back and land all these passive procs onto everyone. He does get crowd controlled initially, but everybody's still marked off of the ultimate. He still has all of these Qs that he can use. So we come out of the replay, they're stacking up for Drake.
Yeah, big thing in that replay, too, that Jan was getting chunked out by the Baron because he was the only one left in the pit, so by the time he flashed over the wall, Viper's like, oh, look at that, free reset. So Viper just being able to capitalize on a comedy of errors.
Oh,
Team Liquid is now, Joey looking for the engage, Solar Flare right onto Armail. They're trying to stun him up before he gets the Moonfall, but he still gets it out. Viper shut down. That was the big cleanup janitor from the last fight, and now Immortals there might not have the odds to be able to fight back against Team Liquid. Still healthy bars, about 50% HP from the majority of the members of Team Liquid, and Immortals are going to succeed the Dragon over.
Ayla's positioning was so cool right there, just adding another aspect to the fight that Immortals had to worry about. Hex flashing over the wall, finding another engage. This is why I keep hyping this guy up. Why he's one of my favorite players to watch in the support position, especially on this champion. The creativity is oozing out of this player's keyboard. As you usually don't want things to ooze out of your keyboard, but this is the exception, I think.
If something's oozing out of your keyboard, you gotta clean it, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, please take care of your peripherals. You know, just
proper hygiene applies to your peripherals. Yes.
Yeah, because then otherwise, like, what happens if your Q key just doesn't work or your F key doesn't work and you got a flash? And it's like, well, you should have. I think there's
put
a lot
flash on D like a regular human, Rafa.
Okay, the same principle applies, Spax. Don't try to be sassy with me. Jesus. Anyway, Team Liquid. I know. Team Liquid Academy. They are on Soul Point. It is a mountain dragon, and although none of these members are necessarily dedicated tanks, the Bruisers in Camille and Renekton will be building some resistances later on, and Ayla does get a little bit of a merit, and for the Mountain Soul shield that you get will benefit all of these members from any of the burst that comes out from Immortals.
On the itemization a little bit too, I do want to highlight one that is really cool in this game. Anda does have Anathema's Chains, and with that item, he can afford to buy just a pure health item and attach it to Armail and give himself some very effective magic resistance. Even though it doesn't have that stat up on it, it does reduce the damage of Diana specifically, and then you can just go full armor. So it's a really cool item that we're seeing purchased by Anda in this game. Might be enough to keep himself alive, but Viper, I think he's dead.
He might be. But he's going to try to keep himself alive. The Gorge Ring and the Sterix Gauge was pretty damn strong, but just not enough. Too much damage from Team Liquid Academy between the Dominus and the Moonfall. Jenkins being able to supply enough with the tactical precision, the true damage coming through, despite being down in items against Viper. But they take him out, as well as Pretty, who expended a teleport just to try and salvage the situation, as Jenkins is now... I mean, he's doing the Baron, but in front of Vision, too.
I'm not sure where that vision was actually coming from, because
there's a ward.
Oh, it's a control ward. I see it now. There we go. All right, they're killing the control ward. It was stacked on a different site ward, so that's why it was a little weird. But
yeah, that's clever.
Yeah, Immortals now. They do see it again. They have another control ward. They're trying to get into this pit, but look at Jenkins.
Okay, Anda throws out the Glacial Prison. Does it give him vision of Jan over the wall? But Jenkins is just trying to solo him out. Okay, there's no more 50-50 smite. Team Liquid can just kite their way back into the Baron, secure the objective for themselves, and Immortals can't get anything out of that one. Team Liquid, now with the Baron buff on their side, this is where the 1-3-1 siege comes into play.
Nice setup from Team Liquid, flexing their muscles, knowing that they're more powerful at this time to take that one. I really like the tempered aggression that they had. They know exactly which members they can afford to send over the wall and which members they need to stay in the pit. Armail, he is very flexible with where he can be in a fight. He did still have his flash, he had his ultimate, but he stays in the pit because he's the one who has the smite. And so does Jan as well, who wants to stay behind. Is really the only member on this team who's playing the backline member. So Liquid just planning out that Baron objective very well. You can see that they have done this a lot of times on this team, and I mean, they have to have, right? This is the exact team that they've had all throughout the entire year, minus a couple of sub-situations, but this is the 5 players that won Northern Arena just last split. It's the 5 members that placed second in the overall split, and they also won 0-4. But we're not going to talk about that right now. They had some very nice results apart from that.
Jesus, just going for the throat. Smacks is savage. Savage Smacks. Savage Smurf. Since you are in the Earth onesie on the show. Team Liquid pushing in through the bottom side. Getting ready for this inhibitor turret take. One empowered cannon minion on their side as Jenkins is pushing in with 2 empowered cannon minions. So now Immortals are going to be split. Have to choose to see if they want to find an engage.
I don't know where this engage actually could come from. They have the Glacial Prison, of course, from Anda. You can find one person with that. It's pretty. May have found a nice flank. Nice stop.
Yeah, the Zenith Blade into the Q. Interrupts Jenkins' ability to get out with the hook shot, and Pretty's able to solo him down. Now Team Liquid are on the run. Featherstorm was used, but during that time, Mountain Soul was secured from Armeo. Now Team Liquid have this powerful shield that is going to be very useful for them in these upcoming fights.
Using the ultimates to find that pick, that's exactly what Immortals have to be able to do. The Glacial Prison, Anda used. Again, they only really get 1 kill from any time they go for that. They have to find those kills over and over again, or they have to find a really nice engage from Viper's ultimate, which is a lot more tricky to do. We've only seen it the one time. It was very good when it happened, but it's very inconsistent for Team Liquid as well, especially when they are this far ahead, especially now that they have the Mountain Soul durability on all of these members. Their front line just got that much more.
Speaking of people with a bunch of stats, look at Armeo, dude. Got 3 items. Ares also's got 3 items. These guys are insanely accelerated. Jan has also just picked up the Infinity Edge. So for the majority of Team Liquid members, they are, to be fair, 8,000 gold ahead of Immortals now. But when you're looking at the side from Immortals Academy's perspective, you're hoping that you can find a CC layering onto Jan before he gets a chance to pop cleanse into Flash into Featherstorm. But, you know, the first time it worked, they caught him off guard. Next time, I don't think it's going to happen as easily. And so I imagine that Immortals just have to go for isolated picks as they did on Jenkins last time. But Team Liquid, they were able to pick up an objective trade off of it. So as Immortals, I'm not sure how they can find something as they're going to look for it. Solar Flare goes wide. Looks for the Zenith Blade. Ayla's able to simply just Ferromancy out. And Joey, having expended Flash for it, is now out of options and engage options as we have another push and siege opportunity happening in the bottom side of the map in the picture-in-picture.
Just did no damage with both of those ultimate engages from Joey and Anda. Not even putting a dent on the middle horse of Ayla right there. And again, this is one of those situations where the gold lead is just gigantic for Team Liquid. You look at what Armeo's got in his inventory, and Pretty's really wishing that he had those set of items instead of his own. If he could trade, he absolutely would. 10 days out of, well, does a week have 10 days? No, it does. Only has 7. Come on, Smacks. Where Armeo is in stasis.
He's got Zonia's, and now watch for the Moonfall re-engage as he's getting chased out by Pretty. Jenkins and Harry aren't in quite the fight yet, but they split up Pretty from the rest of Immortals so well. And there's the re-engage! My God, Armeo, even being put under pressure, waits out the timing before all the members of Immortals clump up for a beautiful Moonfall. And now the rest of the members of Immortals are scattering like the winds, but it will only delay the inevitable Smacks. Team Liquid, on the cusp of winning Game 1 of this series, will take it away from Immortals. And Team Liquid, you know, that early game, the first 10, 12 minutes, it was a little chaotic, it was a little messy, but Team Liquid finally found their footing in that mid-game, and a beautiful finish.
Well done from Team Liquid. With this win, they tie 100 Thieves Academy in number of wins. Now, of course, 100 Thieves haven't played yet, so we're going to have to see how that seeding situation does play out from here on out, but that is a great way to start out this day for Team Liquid and continue their wins throughout this week. Again, this is their 3rd win in a row in the past couple of days. They're looking for their 4th with a perfect week.
Yeah, and for Immortals Academy, you know, like we said before, and if you go check out their awesome Twitter, they're already celebrating that they made it to Academy playoffs. So, yes, they dropped the first game, and if Team Liquid come back with the same formula, they might go for the 2-0 against Immortals. Not trying to say anything at the moment, but you know, Immortals can at least be relieved that they don't have to worry about going to the Unified Grand Prix qualifier. But the seeding still matters to a certain extent, as this would be the difference now between 5th or 6th seed if they drop this next game, because if they don't drop it and they win, they could, or let's see, I want to check my results here real quick.
I think
because
tie up with EG. I don't know how the head-to-head works there, but
yeah, so they still might be 6th seed technically if they tie with Evil Geniuses at this point. So okay, well. All right, we're getting slight confirmations that the only tiebreakers that would occur are still only with Golden Guardians and CLG. And in fact, there are no tiebreakers that will be had today because we just got word that Golden Guardians Academy won their first game against CLG. So that's it, folks. There's all the tiebreaker chaos that we were potentially looking forward to. It is gone. There are no more tiebreakers that will be had because even if there are, there are more games, of course. But even if there are ties in the standing, based on the tiebreaker rules that the Academy has, there won't be tiebreakers set. Certain head-to-heads will work out towards another team's favor. So, but with all that being said, we still have one more game in this series between Team Liquid Academy and Immortals Academy. And of course, we also have one more series in 100 Thieves Academy taking on Dignitas Quantum Pay Academy. So make sure you stick around, folks. We'll be right back after this break.